Open the Board of Adjustment meeting. Our first order of business is the approval of minutes, which we don't have any, so there was not a meeting last month. And so our first order of business is case BOA 2002, and if we would have staff tell us about it, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Okay, this is at 114 North Bayview Avenue, and just FYI, I'm going to kind of move through this quick. I know we're all kind of want to get out of here, so if there's any questions that I omit, I'll be happy to answer those. As you can see on the slide here on the left, the zoning case.
Do we have? Yeah.
Or you have it? I'm going to give a pause
you
for
want the
those that can't
monitors
see
on,
to
it's on
turn the
the big
monitors
top.
on.
Sorry, I didn't realize they weren't on. Yep.
There it goes.
Okay. Got it.
Oh, this is something new, eh?
Yeah, that's what will be on the monitor.
No, not in the last year, Dick.
We're ready.
All right, so as you can see, the subject site at the corner of Bayview Avenue, North Bayview Avenue and Oak Street, aerial on the right-hand side. And let's kind of flip back. So you see this house is the house in question. There will be demoing this house. The request is to demo this house and build a new in its place. The request, instead of a 10-foot required side setback, is for a 9-foot, and then we also require the principal building and any accessory buildings to be 10 foot apart, and the request is for 8 foot. There is, anytime we give a variance, we're looking at a hardship and what is unique to this site. So I'm kind of just show that in the application. As you can see, there is a curve in the road. Let me back up to the arrow. This curve you see is on Bayview is the gully is right across the street. So that kind of gully and its erosion has pushed this street closer to this property, including the road is actually coming into the property a little bit. So moving the house forward has its limitations. So to set back, the yellow line is the proposed footprint of the new house. You can see the existing lines highlighted underneath that. Currently, there is a non-conforming structure that reaches to 6 feet to the property line. So they're actually making this situation better, and you get this little sliver here that will be the non-conforming portion. So it's 9 feet instead of the required 10. So this curve kind of creates that problem, and the uniqueness of that, instead of squared off on the front, you have this angle. So it creates this kind of weird angle here that requires a step in the houses. And then on the rear, the accessory structure goes back as far as it can, and there's an 8-foot separation instead of 10. So they're still in the setback. It's just that separation issue. So that is the request. The uniqueness of this lot is the road in front and how it kind of creates some uniqueness to the shape of this lot. Best exemplified by this line here is actually the paving, not just the right-of-way road. That's actually paving of the road that extends into the front of their property. Staff does not see any problems granting this request. And I will move forward with our request, our recommendation to grant both variances. One, a 9-foot side setback as opposed to a 10-foot, and one, a separation of 8 feet as opposed to 10 foot. And I think Emily has some language if you so choose to make that motion to approve. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer that.
Is there any questions from any of the members?
I was just wanting you to just, I guess, go over the fact that something had changed, right? The parcel map at some point, is that right? In 2017 or what was that? Oh, last year. They said when they bought the property, it was different, is that right?
Within aerial photography, and there's actually been a state law, surveyors push to not use GIS data to make decisions about real estate. Because when they take aerial imagery, it's usually taken at a slight angle. So you can't rely on that for measurements down to the square foot. You know, there usually is a margin of error of 5 to 10 feet. You might get lucky and it's right on, but most of the time, yeah, there is a margin of error. So I think that's what they were looking at. And where you might see the road might have shown 5 foot into the right of way when actually it's at the property line. So
Okay.
that, that was their, I think, reasoning, but at the end of the day, there is a heart uniqueness of this property to be granted regardless of what the GIS information said.
Any other questions? Thank you. We'll open the portion of the public portion. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak for or against it?
I would like to note that I did receive a letter in favor from 104 Oak Avenue. The Betty and Lynn McCready said they were in favor of the Comstock's request.
We'll add that to the record.
I would like to back up just for a second.
Okay?
Close the public
I
hearing
think
first.
I went out and,
Dick, hold on one second. Okay, I'm going to open and close the public portion, and now we can discuss. Okay, go
yeah.
ahead.
I'd just like to ask one, is this a place that has a small pool in the back?
Yes.
Yeah.
It all looks like it, like it's old country type layout and so on. Almost like you stepped into Europe when you go over there. And I don't see how we could possibly deny it. It looks absolutely reasonable to me. I don't know. And I think that if you tried to deny it and they tried to, fight it through a court, over the long term, you're liable to have a really tough time defending the code today as opposed to when this place was built and so on.
Yeah, well, and I don't think it really gets into when it's built because they're removing the house, but I think this is a stereotypical example of what a hardship is, based on the uniqueness of that lot and the shape of that lot, that something is very definitive there. I think you're absolutely right. This is it's a hard one to deny.
Thank you, Dick. Do I hear a motion excuse me.
I'll motion if you're ready for it.
I'm ready for it. Go ahead.
Okay, I move that we, make a motion, we approve the 1 foot side yard setback and the 2 foot separation setback variance, which will result in a 9 foot side yard setback and an 8 foot separation between the structures.
And if that's per staff's request.
Exactly, word for word.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? We'll take a roll call vote.
Aye.
Dick Schneider? Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Anil?
Aye.
Slagle?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Is there any cases for next month?
We do have 2 cases, but at this point, I don't know what the future holds.
Well, right now, we will plan on having a meeting. This board and planning commission are right now, will be meeting as normal. Just stay tuned. We've got, with all the things kind of going on right now, as you're well aware, we might have to change that in a few weeks. So we'll all be tuned in and flexible. Thank you.
Is there any old or new business? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.